Rachel Sumner's from Boston, Massachusetts. Like a masterful painting or a well-crafted film, Rachel Sumner transports audiences into the world of the songs she sings. Borrowing from the storytelling traditions of the Appalachian and British Isle folk songs, Sumner's haunting melodies, unexpected harmonies, and lyrical prowess refresh the genre altogether, leaving listeners spellbound. Would you please say hello to Rachel Sumner?
Hello, hello, everyone. Recently, I've been thinking about how other cultures think about that time of the month. The Danes sometimes refer to it as communists in the gazebo. And the Japanese sometimes refer to it as the arrival of Matthew Perry, which was a lot weirder before I realized that there was a general, like a conquesting general named Matthew Perry centuries ago, and not the Friends actor. And with that, this is Wineapple Rind. There are painters in the stairway and they'll work a week or so. Some are visited by aunts or communists in the gazebo. Oh, is it just propriety, our fear of rightly naming things? We give a sense of sorcery to what we leave unsaid. Move the menses with some herbs that stir the senses. Part the Red Sea, make us ready to leave motherhood alone. I am tied to the moon, charting a life, reading the runes, drawing the knife, cutting the roots for the midwife. Yeah, rowing you clearing the room, spot in the right time for me. The fruit that Eve had eaten cast her out of good old Eden. So too was dear Persephone's sweet tooth rewarded. So within upon the granite we see life and death both granted. But at least the view is beautiful if we gotta fall. I am tied to the moon, charting a life, reading the runes, drawing the knife, cutting the roots for the midwife. Yeah, rowing you, Wineapple Rind, clearing the room, spot in the right time for me. Well, Hildegard von Bingen listed botanicals to bring in to relieve a woman's burden, and she's as saintly as they come. But those wombless men in Washington have said the burden lies with them. We sigh and wait while they side with Wade, but I'm not theirs to own. Roots for the midwife, yeah, ruin you, Wineapple Rind. time for me. Thank you. Thank you so much. Whew, it's amazing to be here. Thank you. This next song I wrote as a tribute to the Radium Girls, who were a group of women in the early 1900s who worked in factories along the East Coast mostly, and they painted with a substance that had radium in it, and they were instructed by their bosses to lip dip paint, so they were consuming vast amounts of radium, and many women got sick and many died. But a brave few took those factories to court, and they were able to win after a long court case. And that became the basis of OSHA and many labor laws that are in place today that protect workers. So this is for them. This is called Radium Girls, Curie Eleison. In the days when Rosie beckoned girls to join assembly lines, a mixture simply named Undark made wristwatch faces shine, and women with star-spangled hearts sat faithfully in rows, bent to help the boys entrenched stave off those dark shadows. Day by day they all were tasked to paint 200 dials with brushes made of camel hair and radium dust in vials. The numbers on the clocks were painted dainty, slim and slight, so the girls were taught to use their lips to point the bristles tight. The taste was a little foul, but no one really seemed to mind. The pay was more than 3 times what a girl back then could find. Radium was championed, a newfound fount of youth, and the few who knew the dangers kept the public from the truth. For a time each painter prospered, though the work they did was tough, and were delighted when they'd clock out covered in the magic stuff. They'd decorate their drabest dresses, paint skin so they'd sparkle. No earthly sight quite like a glowing angel in the darkness. Curie Eleison, Curie. Even lights that shine the brightest will eventually dim, but you never do expect it, just as someone's life begins. As each timepiece passed through nimble fingers, painters dreamed and planned, though they had in fact so very little time left on their hands. Soon these young girls ached as if they'd aged for 80 years, and radiating pain turned into radiating fear. Doctors did their best to treat an unknown malady, but no remedy could keep those bodies from unraveling. So aching turned to limping, and sore mouths began to bleed. Then jaws began to break, and smiles gave way to crumbling teeth. Families became buried beneath doctor bills and loans, and grief like radium began to settle in their bones. Curie Eleison, Curie. To have so many sick at once seemed no coincidence, but the company confronted had maintained its innocence. Yet they'd secretly received results that told a different story, and they knew despite their lies that they were liable for the suffering. Those who had enlisted ladies to leave luminescent marks were now working overtime to keep them in the dark. Not a single protocol was changed at all, though there was danger, and ailing workers failing fast were easily exchanged for healthy younger women, unsuspecting and naive, who craved to carve their own piece of the great American dream. Nothing pierced those stone hearts fortified by corporate greed, even when the women's own hearts one by one had ceased to beat. Curie Eleison, Curie. confronted had maintained its innocence, yet they secretly received results that told a different story, and they knew despite their lies that they were liable for the suffering. I wish that I could tell you that somebody'd found a cure, or that when the court case first came round, the crime was answered for. These women walked among the living, having one foot in the grave. Still they used what fight that they had left so others could be saved. To this day no one can say how many lives were lost. Had they been sooner taken seriously, it might have cut the cost. You may claim women have been long since elevated in this world, but how can that be? Our ashes still speak louder than our words. Thank you very much.
Rachel Sumner.